What is happening, everybody? Welcome to the Ring the Bell show presented by SeatGeek. Daddy's home. Daddy is back. What is going
Randy
on?
Rhodes
I'm
here.
Chris Francesco. Jason Kent, John McElroy are here. Man, I'm home. It's been terrible. I told the guys I'm going to explain to them kind of my last 24 hours or so, or over 24 hours now, at the top of the show. And then we're going to get into something new that's actually starting tomorrow, Monday, with Johnny Mac and I. And then we're going to talk about some Phillies because it's starting to really ramp up now, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's March 10th. Opening day is 18 days away. So you could just tell by where the lineups are almost daily now that we're really moving towards the beginning of the season. So here is what happened to me and my family over the last day. So okay, we were set to come home. We were set to come home from Disney in Orlando last night. And as everyone that lives on the East Coast, I guess, that are watching this right now on YouTube, if you are, hit the like button, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. I really thank you for that. There was, I guess, coastal storms all the way down to South Carolina over the last day or so, like really, really bad storms. So we were notified, I think, like Friday night that we were delayed. Which was expected. We were delayed from, I think it was 7 to like 7:50, which is fine. I don't care. It's a big deal. It's an hour. Then I think early Saturday morning, we're in the pool. We had just checked out of our hotel. So now we're just kind of waiting to be picked up at the airport. We get into the bus to take us to the airport. And we get the notification on our phones that, your flight's been delayed to 8:25. So I'm thinking, all right, that's fine. It's only in like another half hour. Not a big deal. But then we start noticing that the storms are getting stronger right around North Carolina and I guess up in Philly, New Jersey, because my parents had left a few days prior and their flight was delayed from like 3 o'clock to 10 p.m. And they were, they barely got a flight out of Orlando to get straight to Philly. So my wife and I, we get into the Orlando International Airport. For those of you who've been there, that airport sucks. It's such trash. But we get into the line at, I'll say the name of the airline. We get in the line, American Airlines, pardon my French, but fuck American Airlines. God, they're such pieces of shit. But notwithstanding, we get in line to check our bags where everyone does. They have like this mobile, or not this mobile, like this standing digital thing. You don't have to wait in forever lines. You can just check your bags right there at this screen and pay for them and then go get them weighed. As I'm standing there with our two girls, my wife's up at the machine. Somebody comes to her and says, is everything okay? My wife says, this is our flight number, blah, blah, blah. It's coming up. It's not coming up. And the woman looks at my wife and goes, oh, that's because your flight's canceled. So we go. So Morgan hadn't seen the update yet. And then the woman says, give it a second. And then I get the update on my phone. I'm about 20 yards away. And I go, hon, our flight's canceled. And the woman points to me and goes, there it is. Your flight was just canceled. All of a sudden, you see in the airport a mad dash from, I guess, everyone that's flying anywhere from North Carolina up through maybe Boston. And it's just a nightmare. So I'm on, there's a website called Kayak, and there's Expedia, where you can go on and kind of check for other flights from any airline possible. I don't care if I have to take something that's just going to float in water for 900 miles. I'll take it. We were looking for everything. So finally, we had been told that, sorry, there's going to be no flights until Tuesday. So we're basically freaking the hell out, because we had no hotel. American Airlines told us, we're not comping you a hotel. We're not putting you in a hotel. This is on you. We won't even rent a car for you, so I can drive back to Disney and maybe get a room for a night. So we get about an hour or so in. We found a flight from Orlando to get to Washington D.C. The flight would leave at like 10:30 and we would arrive at like 12:45, something like that. So we took that. We got in. So we got on the flight around 10:30. We flew into Washington, D.C. We got in around 12:45. We weren't able to rent a car because apparently to rent a car, that ends at midnight. So not able to rent a car. So we called a family member on Morgan's side, my wife's side, to drive about an hour and 45 minutes from Maryland to pick us up. So we get picked up. We spent another hour and a half back to their house down in Maryland. Spent the night there. Got home around 2:30 this afternoon. So we were supposed to be home at like 10 o'clock last night. Instead, we got into Washington, D.C., and now we're home late this afternoon. So that was a nightmare. And it's not going to take away from the trip. It was a fun time. But yeah, that was my that was my nightmarish travel day yesterday with a 5 and a 2-year-old. But everything was good. The most important thing is we're here. We're ready to roll.
Yeah, you're in safe. And yeah, I would say I don't feel bad because you just spent 10 days in Disney.
Not at all. And you still got picked up. Like you got picked. Like you still got a flight. You got this dude made it sound like maybe he was in bad, like turbulence on the flight. Like no.
Girls
fine. I got picked up. We didn't know what was going on.
We didn't. For a good 2 hours, we thought, well, we're gonna have to stay in the airport till Tuesday. Like there was nothing happening from like anywhere.
Would you have showered in the sink?
I would. Yeah. I mean, sure. I'll do whatever it took. I don't care. So all right, guys, with quite a few things happening. As I've talked about before, where we would like to see this channel go. And this is kind of where this is, I guess, the beginning of where eventually where RTB Network is going to be going. We're going to be doing other things, which is great. On top of this show, which is a flagship. This is it. This is what we're going to be doing forever. Starting tomorrow, there'll be an Eagle show on this channel. Everything's not all set up completely, but with free agency kicking off on Wednesday, there's an Eagle show coming to the channel. So that'll start off tomorrow. And then obviously if the Eagles announce anything, I'm assuming they're going to be super active in free agency via signings or trades. Then there will be emergency shows, which is great. More information will come with that. So we're very much looking forward to that kicking off tomorrow night. Very, very excited for that. Johnny Mac and myself will be at the helm of all of that. Just super exciting things coming to the Ring the Bell show. I'm going to be working on Jay to bring his show over here as well. So he can stream that through our channel, so we can have just a home for anything, for everything. The more the merrier on this network, to continue to build the audience that we've worked really hard to build. We're right around 1.5 thousand subscribers, and with baseball season coming up rapidly, we're going to be probably growing even faster, and we're very much looking forward to that. So the show will be called Gangrene, an Eagle show. For those of you who don't know the genesis of Gangrene, that was the name of one of the most terrifying defenses in NFL history from about 1987 to 1991, 1992 with the Eagles. And that's going to be the name. And we're looking forward to kicking things off this upcoming week, which is a huge week in the NFL. So many things happened today, as you guys know. I'm sure we'll talk about that tomorrow. Baker Mayfield somehow finagled an NFL team to give him $100 million.
Playoff wins.
That's great. Yeah,
more than most quarterbacks in this league.
I mean, you're not wrong. But yeah, a lot of things going on. Mac Jones's career as a backup started today, so that's wild to think about that. But yeah, we'll get into that tomorrow. But let's get on to what we're here to talk about tonight about the Philadelphia Phillies. So we talked about this on our text thread, and of course, like anything we friggin' talk about in this show, someone has to bring it all the way around town to Kyle Schwarber. So that, of course, that
wasn't me
happened.
this time. Wasn't me.
No, and it wasn't John this time, which is shocking. So
If I was on my phone at that time, I would have definitely said something.
Well, I just wanted to prove how dumb the point is. I just don't like because you're like I just don't like it. I don't like it.
So Jason automatically doesn't like it, so it makes it dumb. That's what we've learned here today.
It's a terrible.
It's not hold on. It can't be a terrible take when it's just factual. How can a terrible take that's factual be a terrible take? I'm not understanding. So
because facts lie.
How do facts lie?
It seems like he's progressively getting worse.
And what he got better last year.
Average wise, progressive. I think his home runs are still going to be there, but his average is going to continually drop and drop and drop and drop.
Jeez, I'm not sure you can get much worse than 198. I mean, that's bad.
I think you'll see this year. I still think he's an average hitter. Hitter for average. He's not going to ever be a 250 hitter, 220 hitter. He's going to be in the low 200s and then maybe even lower than 200. I think that's just who he is. He's a powerful swing, violent swing guy, and he's just not going to. He's going to hit home runs and he's going to walk and he's not going to hit singles. I mean, there was a time last year where I think he had more walks than singles or something. Not even walks and singles. It might have been like just home runs and singles.
He had more home runs than singles.
It was something ridiculous like that, like most of the year. So
what I want to say is a lot of what we've been talking about this year is the only real question mark about this Phillies team heading into March 28th, heading into opening day, is who is the starting everyday center fielder? Because we know once the season starts, Brandon Marsh is going to be, patrolling left field, and Nick Castellanos isn't going anywhere, so he'll be in right field. And Dave Dombrowski and fans and pundits, media have been speculating basically, is Johan Rojas going to make the team? Is he going to start the year with the big club? It has nothing to do with defense. We all know what he provides with his glove, which is, Gold Glove caliber, which is tremendous. However, the fact that he just can't hit, and it's continued since game one of last year's postseason through right now, he has 7 hits. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm so tired of the narrative that he can't hit. Like, I understand he totally struggled in the postseason. You're 100% right. And we all said it. But last year, in 59 games, in 149 at-bats, the dude hit 302 with an OBP of 342, stole 14 bases. So I get here. There is a slump in the postseason, and the thing, and this whole started because I know this because I remember yesterday watching Schwarber just be terrible in the field, be terrible at the plate, and you hit us with the Rojas is still struggling. My retort was Schwarber's still struggling too. Yes, I get Schwarber's track record is there. We know what he's going to give us. I'd like to see Rojas get because he's batting ninth. I don't know how many. Not many teams have a 9-hole hitter that's doing fantastic. Give the kid 400 at bats this year and see what he is. I don't think he's had a long enough because he came up, he hit well. They started to figure him out. Let him get his chance to adjust to the major league hitting before just throwing him back down and then let him get that opportunity to adjust. And if you give him 400 at bats, I think with Whit Merrifield, I think we're deep enough. I think this team's deep enough to allow him to do that and still be there in October, ready to go.
So he's 23 years old, Jay. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the kid going down in AAA or AA where he can probably hit second in the lineup or lead off down there and get significantly more at bats than batting ninth for the team here and possibly looking really bad as basically an automatic out like he has since the postseason. it's hard for me to say let the kid grow on a team that's trying to win a World Series. Again, I'm not coming out here and saying, it's not like we've won the World Series, blah, blah, blah. It's not like we can compete with the Braves, which they can. It's you're looking is right
why are
now
we discrediting why are we discrediting his regular season from last year? Why is that being 100% thrown out the window?
I don't think it's being thrown out the window.
I feel like a lot of, because even on like when you listen to the sports radio, when you look at Twitter, I feel like a lot of people are still focusing on the playoffs, which, yes, very big deal. Spring training, I don't take as much into spring training because it's small sample size. We see this every year. Great players do bad. Great minor leaguers, minor leaguers that will never see the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be fantastic. So I'm not worried about it. I can't discredit what I saw with my own eyes last year. This kid do, and I think he's deserving of an opportunity, especially because what it does for your outfield solidifies the outfield defensively. Now that Marsh is over and left, I think it makes it even better, and let the kid, give him an opportunity to actually show he can do it and make the adjustments at the big league level. Because just because he's going down hitting minor league pitching doesn't mean he's going to be ready to see major league pitching. Let him have that opportunity, because I still think with him batting not as great, you still have Witt to put in later in the season. If you're saying he just can't do it, we need to send him down, you have a Whit Merrifield. You can make a trade. There's other players on this team that you can put in center field, and it's really no harm, no foul, but you know what the kid is instead of, waiting longer. I get the 23 thing, but he just showed me last year what he can do, and I'm reluctant now with how good his defense is to move off of him because of a bad postseason.
I'm not saying move off of him. They have somebody who's better than him right now that can contribute right now on the major league roster and still play center field and Whit Merrifield. My issue is with all of this, I'm not discrediting what he did in the regular season. I'm going to get into that in a second. My issue with Johan Rojas is we were told all winter long that this kid never left the batting cages. He was being instructed since the day the season ended. He got bigger. He got stronger. Blah, blah, blah. The same stuff that I've heard before on a lot of players. He comes into camp, and again, there's been zero progression. Zero. How am I not supposed to worry about a guy who has made absolutely zero progress, it looks like, after literally being in the cages and being instructed all winter long into spring? That's not a warning sign from anybody at all.
Didn't Scott Kingery bat like 350 last year in spring training?
And like 400 this year.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and then he went, when it actually got sent down. So to me, that logic just says he should go down to the minor league and crush it. Yet he batted 220 in the minor leagues last year. So to me, it's tough to take what I'm seeing in spring training. I'm not saying, because you have to have a sample size. You have to get the players ready. Spring training, I think, is just that, getting these guys ready to go for the regular season, working on things that you've been trying, and then just figuring out, I can't put too much stock into, he's batting over 200. So I think he needs the opportunity to see that. My whole point, I just think he needs the opportunity against the major leaguers. The chance.
I said from day one that once they signed Merrifield, that Rojas was starting the season in AAA. I just knew it was going to happen because he's a young guy who I think needs to get more at bats in the minor leagues before we can bring him back up. And I thought he started off a little hot in spring training. I was like, oh, maybe he's gonna make the roster. But the way he looks at it, I think they're just gonna send him down, get him some at bats, get him more at bats. That way, when they bring him up, and probably around June, which I would expect at the time to bring up, he'll still get close to the 400 at bats, 400 at bats when he gets that opportunity. So he's gonna get those. But I just think they want to get him work and make sure he's ready to compete when they need him the most.
Yeah, and looking at this, Rojas did hit 302 in those 59 games last season, but there were always some, warning signs that this early success at the plate just wasn't going to continue. His batting average on balls in play was 410, which is incredibly unsustainable when you consider that the league average is around 300. So if you
a lot of them were lucky hits. I mean, how many times were they little singles over there, or they were just little infield hits because he's so fast? Which, I mean, a guy like him should hit the ball on the ground, not strike out at all. Like if he hits the ball on the ground, there's a chance he's gonna beat it out every single time. But
agreed.
A lot of them they're not. A lot of them weren't real hits. I mean, it just they weren't real hits.
Yeah, and if you dig deeper into his numbers since the start of the last postseason, his offensive output has absolutely disappeared. The biggest problem is he doesn't provide a ton of value offensively if he's not getting hits. He's lightning fast, which we've talked about, but that's a non-point if he doesn't get on base. And he isn't someone who works long counts or draws walks. He had 5 walks.
He swings at everything, man.
In 165 plate appearances. So it is the most fraudulent 300 batting average. I at least a guy that hits 198, you can see that he provides offense. He gets on base. He hits home runs. He drives in players. There's a difference. There's a total. That's where, agree what Jason said. That's where facts and stats lie. A guy that hits 300 was completely ineffective in the offense compared to a guy that hit 197. There's differences in the game there. To me, because the guy plays Gold Glove defense, that's great. I don't think he can hit consistently at a major league level right now. Can you get to that
guys
point?
Like Pache, who's playing unbelievable, and Pache played good throughout the entire year.
Well, Pache is going to make the opening day roster probably.
Yeah, so I mean, you can put a guy like him in center field. You can put a guy
that might be what they do,
and a guy like Merrifield. I mean, Dahl's been playing pretty well. You can put him out there too in left field and put Marsh in center field for some games. If you want to platoon him and Pache out there, but there's guys there's options right now that have the major league experience that I trust more early on in the season. Early on,
that's right. I agree.
One thing I want about the Phillies is they need to be good early on. They have to.
You're right.
Since Harper's been here, they've been horrible in April and May. They really have never been good.
Yeah. Jay's always said they are just not a cold weather team at all.
Well, I mean, Nola's not. I mean, you look at Nola when it's hot out compared to when it's cold out. It's a significantly better pitcher when it's hot out than when it's cold. I mean,
do you guys really think this? The center field position? Okay, do you really think the difference in wins is going to be significant enough if you put in Pache or you put in Witt over Rojas to give him that opportunity? Because I already know, we know what Witt gives us. To me, Witt is, like you said, Schwarber. He's got his track record of being a great player. We know what he is. Not a great, but he can hit the ball. He gets you hits. I know what he is. Rojas, to me, I don't know if it's significant enough, the difference of wins, because I think what he gives you defensively just makes it so much better on your outfield in general and gets you, saves you runs. I just think that's where that opportunity is. And I know because Witt's going to be there and Witt can play everywhere. So he's going to still get his at bats. I just think, I don't know how much putting in, someone else out there makes this team that much better than you would really have it with. I don't know if there's that significant of a drop off. We're not talking about putting Mike Trout out there. It's not something like that. So that's, to me, unless you get an overwhelming deal for a center fielder, if he goes down, I'm going to be upset because I'd love to see him, but I want to see him get his at bats against major league, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the drop off is that. I want to
see him in AAA because he's young. That's why I think it's okay if you send him down in AAA now because he's young. If he was like 25, 26, I'd be like, yeah, he has to be up here at this point, and we have to see what he got. But since he's 23, I'm like, I don't mind him going down for a couple months in the minor league, and then I'm happy with him. And
everybody's mad that Utley came up late. Howard came up late, so we can't have it. Like, we're always mad now if he comes up and you put him down. It's like, well, why did we send him down? Because now he's coming up playing great. So to me, it's that double thing. Well, everybody for years was just mad. Utley came up at 26. Howard came up
playing great.
I don't think he's not. I have a small sample size. He had a bad postseason. He had a great 59 games.
Ryan Howard wasn't held down because he wasn't good. No, Ryan Howard was held down because they had a Hall of Famer in front of him.
We get it. We all get it.
Chase Utley was behind a guy hit 315. Placido Polanco was a stud.
Was a great hitter, and he at that time he refused to play.
He refused to move over. And
if you play third base,
Chase Utley surely wouldn't have been able to play shortstop.
Yeah, but I've seen enough of this kid. I just want him to have he's not a huge. I thought he put enough out there to show us that he can still, at least produce some. If it's something you have to send him down later in the year, we saw, even if you give him, April, May, maybe he's not there. You send him down, you bring him back up a September call up. But I don't know if the drop off's that drastic. But I do think I'm going to lose this. I don't say lose the argument, but I do think they're probably going to send him down, which sucks. Because I'm advocating for something that's not going to happen.
I
know
love
what
the
they're gonna
kid.
do
I
at
really do.
this
I
point
just
because
think he
even
needs more time.
Kevin Long says how good of a hitter he's improved and everything, and how much they love him, and how much. I mean, Thompson tells me how much he loves his defense. So I don't really know. I have no clue what they're gonna do with him. I would, and I'm fine with either of them. I'm indifferent with them. I'm not gonna. I agree with both your points, but I would think just because he's 23, I'm fine with him going down. You know, for a couple. It's 2 months. I would think he'd be down. It wouldn't be that long. He'd be down. It wouldn't be like the whole season. It'd be 2 months. He'd be down.
So who's playing center? And if he's not there, are we putting Pache every day?
No, I think it'd be a platoon role with like a Cave or David Dahl, type deal, or Merrifield out there, depending on how they do it.
I think Pache can play center. He's got really
Pache can play center, but Dahl has to play left, and then you'd move Marsh into center for some games too. But that would be against right hand. I mean, who knows?
So
what they're gonna do.
Let's get to the question.
Can hit lefties, man. He can hit lefties really well.
Yeah. So let's get to the question here before we get to our final topic. And I'm going to go against my whole argument. Should Rojas make the opening day roster, John?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I want him up there. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if he goes down though, like I said, but I think he should give him the shot.
Jason, should and will Rojas make the opening day roster?
Should he? Yeah. Will he? I can see, because like you said, his not batting fantastic. I could see them sending him down. So I think he should. I don't think he will.
And we still have 2 weeks, man. He could turn this thing around in the next 2 weeks too. So we have no idea what could happen.
With everything that I've said, that we've all said here, should Rojas start the season in center? I don't think so. Will he? I believe yes. I believe he's going to start the season in center field. I really do. I think Topper is like Charlie in the sense of if you played for him for any amount of time, significant amount of time, even as a starter, he stuck with this kid throughout the entire duration of the playoffs.
Yeah, he did.
he's a player's manager. He is what we used to always. I mean, Jason and I used to talk about this in 09, 10, 11. Like Manuel was was loyal to his players to a fault.
Yeah, he was.
And I think Topper's the same way, and that's what I think's going to happen. Dombrowski and I forget who their GM is. I forget Feld, right? Sam Fold. I think it's Sam Fold. They're going to go to him and be like, "What do you want to do?" And Topper's going to be like, "You know what? Let JoRo figure this out." And we need him in center field. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to start the opening day roster at center field, batting ninth.
See, I'm fine with him. If he hits 240, I'm okay with what he provides you defensively. I think is very necessary in today's game. People don't like to think about it.
Look at the Rays and the.
I think it's a super necessary thing.
God knows who playing center field for them, and they'll hit like 190, but they're amazing fielders out there. I mean, who's it? Jose Surrey down in.
I think he could steal 30 to 40 bags, even if he's hit. If you give him 9 all year, I think he's automatically going to be right there with Turner and Stott. So you're going to have potentially 3 dudes stealing 30 plus bags.
Yeah,
that's a team. That's the team.
I think Rojas might be in the 40s, the 50s
if he can get on base, man. If Rojas can get on base, he's definitely a threat to steal 30 to 40.
I mean, in 59 games, he had 14?
He had 14.
Yeah, you put that. I mean, he's going to be close. He's going to be in the 40s and 50s.
You could be there with, you got the 100 steals between 3 dudes right there. That's producing runs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're gonna wrap up the show with our final topic here, and I know we did an emergency show, episode 100, when I was on vacation. Thank you to Jason for setting that whole thing up. As always, like I've said before, I have the best group of teammates here that helped me run this entire thing, and you guys are awesome. And thank you to Jay for setting that all up. As soon as Wheeler signed, we did an emergency show, maybe 15 minutes after it happened, maybe 20 minutes. That was episode 100, everyone, by the way. This is 101. So 101.
I don't know. I can't hear Chris at all.
Chris, you cut out. Can you hear us?
I can't hear Chris at all.
Chris cut out. No, we can't hear you. No.
Here we go. Now I'm good.
So
John, next time maybe wave your hand and help me realize I'm on mute instead of Jason just staring into the camera. So
I said I can't hear
we
you.
did the
Didn't I say
emergency
that?
episode. Now John's acting like he can't talk now.
No, I'm serious. I'm talking.
So John, I wanted to ask you, since you didn't have a chance to jump on when Wheeler signed, what was your thoughts on the contract?
Great deal, 3 years. I mean, what I wanted 3 years. I mean, it felt like they wanted to get him here and keep him here. I mean, I don't care that the AAV's high. I think he's one of the top pitchers in the National League and even in the entire baseball. So I love it. It's a good deal.
I can't hear John at all.
Oh my God.
I hear no. I hear John. I can hear you. So keep going, John.
Hold on.
I still hear him. Chris, can you hear me?
All right. Now,
Chris, can you hear me?
Hear us? You hear
Hold.
me?
I hear everybody else.
We look like such amateurs right now.
Let me see here.
Who could believe we have 101 episodes?
John, I was 100%. I was with you on the Wheeler, but we can go like Wheeler. I thought it was a great extension. It was well deserved.
Great.
My only
And
issue is
he's gonna be 37, and it seems like this is the end of the road. These last 2 years, the end of the road for him. When he's
look
done.
at the awards that Scherzer and Verlander have, and that's what you're paying them as. That's the only issue I have is both of them have.
He's in that running though every year.
Both he is, but both of those guys have World Series rings. Both of those dudes have Cy Youngs. So I as a Philly fan, I kind of assumed, I'm not going to say I'm upset because I thought I was okay with it because he was such underpaid prior.
Yeah,
but it's tough. It's just tough to justify with the numbers Cy Young winners.
I think he's only making like $28 million over the full term of his Phillies tenure. You know what I mean? So
they said, I think they said the whole year it was only like 34 or something like that. If you actually,
it was so like if you put like the whole which he deserves, it's well
not a bad deal. Yeah, when you look at it like,
and it's 3 years. I think he's still going to be a good pitcher for the next 3 years. I think when he at the end of the contract, he will not be re-signed. I think he's going to retire. I think this is the end of the road for him. He's going to make his money. He's going to call it at this point. But I'm happy that he's here. It seemed like him and the Phillies wanted to get this deal done fast, and it seemed like he wanted to be here. We didn't have Scott Boras as his agent to make this even more ridiculous than it should be. Like he knew what he wanted, and he wasn't held up on the years. He knew what he wanted. The Phillies knew what they wanted to give him, and they got it done, and it made it nice and easy. He's happy. Phillies are happy. Everyone's happy. I heard the players said dinner's on him that day or whatever it was. It's good to see, and I mean he's better than Nola. He deserves to be paid more than Nola, so it's awesome.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
No, and I agree with you totally, John. I mean, Jason and I were pretty much on board also when we heard what it was and what the numbers were. They were pretty much right where I don't remember if I got your opinion, Jay. If you thought they were a little high than you thought they were. I
assumed they were going to be that. My only issue is when you look at it. Scherzer and Verlander both have Cy Youngs, both have World Series rings. It's tough for me to say, okay, I want to pay him. Like, I get you had to do it. To me, I said from the beginning, I know it's probably going to be 40 to 43, right under those other guys, because he outperformed that last contract. He really took a deal, and you weren't sure what you were going to get with him, so we did get him on the cheaper.
I mean, I thought his last deal was high.
For what I thought it was. I thought definitely. No, I thought it was high. Yeah, because the dude had been coming off a couple injuries.
It's high right now, and he comes back and he wins the Cy Young this year, next year. You know what I mean?
If he hits 3 Cy Youngs, you're right. It's right there.
He gets 3 Cy Youngs.
Even if he doesn't, even if he's sitting there at a sub-3 ERA, you know, and he's.
Oh, so if he gets in the running for Cy Young like 3 different times, like another pitcher on this team that you just hated on. So
Wheeler gets in there legitimately,
but never win. Kind of like I've been arguing about Aaron Nola
in
bro.
Like 7 years.
No, Nola was like top 4 2 years ago, maybe even last year or 2 years ago. I'm sorry.
I don't care about the top 4. I care about the top 3.
He's had like four top 5s.
No, he's had two top. He's had 2 top 4s and 1 top 10. So in 2022, he finished 4th in the Cy Young race. In 2020, he finished 7th. And then, of course, he finished 3rd in 2018.
But he had that wrapped up until those last like 2 starts in September. He pretty much was in the running for the win that year.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. So yeah, I think based on what we talked about earlier when it happened.
And hold on. And you just said last week or the week before that Nola's not that good. Don't forget that, Jay.
Yeah, John has
Don't
that
forget
receipt.
that. Don't forget that.
He did.
That's funny.
He does.
All right. So just to remind everybody, next Sunday we'll have our regular show, Sunday show, and then during, I believe, the middle of the week, the following week, we're gonna have our 2024 preview and prediction show. Super
can't wait for
pumped
that one.
to get to that point. That's usually our favorite show of the year because we will look back to that show 100 times throughout the season based on what we're all gonna
One person
predict.
picked it right last year.
That is true.
He didn't get the right team. They lost to, but he got him game 7.
But he did.
How's that?
You did predict the game 7. You did. So what we're gonna do in that show is we're gonna run down what we assume will be the starting lineup. We're gonna give our predictions on their stats, what we think is gonna happen. We're gonna name who's gonna be the MVP of the team, who's gonna be the unsung hero, who will be the biggest disappointment. I wonder where that's gonna go. And then we're gonna discuss and preview and predict if we think this is a team that's going to be bounced in the playoffs, not make the playoffs, make the World Series, win or lose in the World Series. That's what we're all going to be going over. I believe it's going to be March 21st. If that date changes, I will let everybody know, but I'm pretty sure that's
March
the one.
21st?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we talked about that, right? It was like March 20th or the 21st. And I think
22nd.
maybe we'll have to go check the thread. If it is, no matter what, we're still a while away. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm sure by next Sunday we'll know exactly for everyone when to tune in. And just to give one last reminder that tomorrow John and I will be here, not sure on a time yet. We'll hammer that out. Gangrene Eagle Show will debut on this channel with everything surrounding that show being built as we speak, and hopefully we'll be officially be able to roll out the show in all its glory. Probably by the beginning of April, if not maybe the second week. I'm assuming it's going to be before that, but keep track here. So many new things coming to the channel before and right after opening day. Once the season starts, we're here twice a week doing Ring the Bell. And it's going to be every Wednesday or Thursday night, depending on how the first series of the week rolls out. Either it's a Wednesday or Thursday, and then our normal Sunday show, as always, that we did throughout all of last season. And then a couple times a week, I will be on here trying to do a couple post-game shows, depending on how the games go and from a timing perspective. So we're gearing up to bring you guys a ton of content. Head over to SEATGEEK.com right now. SEATGEEK's been with us since the beginning. Use our code ONTHEBUMP for $20 off your very first ticket purchase. And, if you're following us on social media, give us a follow. If you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications on the show. Really appreciate, would love to get to about, right before opening day, I would love to get to 1,500 or more subscribers. So we're super excited for what's coming down the pike. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, John. And we'll catch you all down the road, and we'll see you here next week. And as always, go Phils.